But now for local news. Westbrook has been rocked by a major fire. NCPD forensics have concluded arson was the cause and request any information you might have that could aid in their investigation into the arsonist's identity. Good evening, Night City. First, a look ahead at tonight's broadcast. A bird flu outbreak grips Lahore. Over 200 dead in Sweden in the wake of an extreme heat wave. And a terrorist attack at the Kinshasa orbital terminal.
The company was recently shocked by a series of disastrous events, the most significant of which being an attack on their corporate headquarters last night. Good evening, Night City. Tonight's main story: what's next for Arasaka? How will the Japanese megacorp emerge from this crisis? As you recall, 35 miners became trapped deep underground following a high-magnitude earthquake. The proposed base will be subdivided into 3 areas: industrial, scientific, and residential. 10 residential modules are already available for purchase, at a starting rate of €100 million. A hefty price, yes, but can you truly put a price on your security? Moving from below the Earth to above it, Militech has announced plans to establish a new colony on the Red Planet. But thanks to their Suze-League 2 hibernation implants, the miners were able to survive without access to food and fresh water for 2 weeks. The Lunarinskaya uranium mine collapse that occurred just outside Novosibirsk in southern Siberia has concluded with a happy ending. Fortunately, after their rescue and following a brief rest for technical evaluation, the miners were able to immediately return to work. In a swift reprisal, NUS forces carried out a series of bombings on Texan airports in Wellington and El Paso. In New Mexico and Oklahoma, a new bout of unrest has erupted in the wake of suicide blasts at NUS bases. President Myers has openly blamed the Republic of Texas for the attacks. Although both sides have expressed a desire to avoid further escalation of the conflict, bookies have put the odds of a full-blown border war at 3-1. That concludes today's World News segment. Please join us again next time. Welcome to N54 News. I'm Gillean Jordan, and this is the latest from around the world. This is N54 News with a breaking story. A cyber-psycho attack shocks Wellsprings. Lester McKenzie, age 28, opened fire at the River Mall shopping center. 35 people were pronounced dead at the scene and another 20 remain in critical condition. The Implant Manufacturers Association has issued a statement in response to the incident, stating, quote, "Our thoughts and prayers go to the victims and their families. We at the IMA extend our sincerest condolences in the wake of this unavoidable tragedy." End quote. Stay tuned to N54 News for developments on this story. River Mall administration has announced plans to reopen within the hour. They have offered a 50% discount at participating stores to the families of the victims. The shooting lasted 10 minutes before the assailant was killed, shortly after MaxTac forces arrived. The Western corporate states recently announced a new visa program. Persons intending to relocate there must first find a sponsor from among WCS-affiliated companies. Following a 20-year employment period within the WCS, visa holders can earn the right to permanent residence, a marriage license, and a single-child permit. In Northern Europe, the humanitarian crisis has worsened. Refugees from flooded regions in Belgium and the Netherlands continue to pour into Scandinavia. Have we found heaven on Earth? Permanent human settlement on Antarctica is celebrating 10 years today. Sweden has responded with force, sinking over a dozen refugee vessels in recent weeks. Despite humanitarian efforts, nearly 60 people have been killed. A wealth of natural resources hidden under the ice has spurred on the continent's rapid economic development. Though some environmental degradation has occurred as a result, inhabitants of the South Pole are still enjoying life as Antarctica's first dollhouse was recently opened. But perhaps most appealing to locals and newcomers alike is the astonishingly low crime level. Antarcticans enjoy a murder rate of only 70 per 100,000 residents. Thank you for watching N54 News. We'll see you next time. Hello, I'm Gillean Jordan. Welcome to the World Report on N54 News. The NCPD has urged caution when using data terms. A routine inspection has shown many have been corrupted with malware. Police experts have confirmed the identified virus can lead to cyberware failure and, in extreme cases, even death. What's next for Pacifica? The district, formerly designed as an oasis of luxury, has become a den for violent gangs and drug addicts. Kang Tao recently expressed interest in the purchase of Pacifica property with the aim of constructing a new server and logistics center. Residents of Arroyo and Watson are advised not to leave their homes after dark and always ensure easy access to protective firearms. Schools and hospitals have been closed until further notice. Today's final story is an unwelcome one for pet owners. The canine ownership tax will increase to €1,000 per dog per month. Similarly, the fine for possessing an undocumented animal will increase to €40,000. In response to increased gang activity, the mayor's office has raised the public threat level to red. The city government has openly considered selling the land for a single Eurodollar in a symbolic gesture, provided that Kang Tao demonstrates commitment to eradicating the district's criminal presence. Thank you for tuning in to the N54 local news. Have a pleasant day. Hello, Night City. I'm Gillean Jordan with N54 News, and this is your local latest. Hello, Night City. I'm Gillean Jordan with N54 News, and this is your world news update. At this year's Federalist Party National Convention, NUS President Rosalind Myers announced her intent to run for another term. Artifacts is capable of interpreting the user's brain activity to then produce the object they have visualized in their mind. The printer, which has been engineered in cooperation with Swiss giant Moore Technologies, is expected to be commercially available as early as next year. Australia says farewell to the last koala living in the wild, affectionately dubbed Omega. At a press conference earlier today, scientists from Gillean University demonstrated the extraordinary capability of a next-gen 3D printer they have dubbed Artifacts. Though technically a wild animal living on the outskirts of Sydney, the city government supported the fluffy marsupial with 11 pounds of eucalyptus leaves and fresh water from the municipal botanical garden every day. According to an N54 News poll, approximately 78% of Night City residents would like their city to join the union. Time will tell if the hopes of these many people will be realized. Omega garnered huge media attention a few years ago when Sydney residents organized a protest in response to the planned euthanasia by Blue Mountain Disease Control of nature's last surviving real-life teddy bear. That's all for today's World Report. Thank you for choosing N54 News. Her campaign slogan, "A Return to Unity," sends a clear message of the president's desire to, quote, strive for unification on every possible front. Welcome to today's local news on N54. I'm Gillean Jordan. The NCPD scored another victory with the adoption of a policy allowing the shooting of a limb to be considered a warning shot, a change that should keep officers safer. The Night City Office of Cybernetic Technology has been formally dissolved as a result of budget cuts. For the third consecutive year, Militech has been touted as Night City's best corporation to work for. In other news, the NCPD welcomes a boost to its authority. As of today, the police may detain criminal suspects for up to 1 year without formal prosecution. This prestigious award can be attributed to the numerous employee benefits they offer, such as 5 paid vacation days a year, unlimited access to stimulant pharmaceuticals, and implant acquisition assistance. The office formerly responsible for implant certification will shutter its doors next Tuesday. Were that not impressive enough, 34% of Militech employees have also been promised a retirement package. The administrators of implant authorization are now the manufacturers, guided by the standards they themselves have established. Thank you for joining all of us here at N54 News. We'll see you next time. This is Gillian Jordan from N54 News. We interrupt this program for a special message from President Myers. We can only hope President Myers' unflinching stance will temper Arasaka's aggressive and reckless rhetoric. We now return you to your regularly scheduled program. Welcome to the N54 News World Report. I'm Gillian Jordan. Scientists from Biodyne Systems have announced a breakthrough in the fight against multiple sclerosis. MS is one of the few diseases that cannot be cured by replacing the affected tissue with implant technology. But the experts at Biodyne have created nanites that, when injected into the spinal cord, provide long-term uninterrupted repair to the neural tissue. The cost of this cutting-edge therapy treatment has been listed at €700,000 per month. The Swedish Academy Award for Literature has announced its latest recipient, Virginia Grantchester, citing her most recent book, In the Shade of an Apple Tree, as a treasure of this generation. For the second consecutive week, the landfill inferno in the remnants of Atlantic City continues to rage on. The 10,000-acre dumping ground ranks among the world's largest and contains both toxic and biological waste. Already, 7 firefighters combating the blaze have died, and another 40 have suffered from severe burns and toxin exposure. Grantchester, who is an AI created by Raven Microcybernetics, has been lauded for several of her works over the years. Her first novel, Requiem for a Samurai, which was published in 70 languages simultaneously, sold over 3 million copies. This has been your World Report. Thank you for tuning in to N54 News. In the Shade of an Apple Tree is a drama set in 20th century Ireland and is already considered a masterpiece of post-collapse literature. Welcome to N54 News. I'm Gillian Jordan, and here's what's happening in the world today. The last active photovoltaic solar farms have been decommissioned in Nevada and Utah. Solar power generation, once seen as the future of clean energy in America, has suffered significant setbacks in today's more extreme climate. According to the latest report, as much as 20% of the continent is no longer suitable for human habitation. Temperatures in Sicily, Malta, and the Cyclades have reached as high as 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Air pollution in Poland, Bulgaria, and Romania now exceeds the continent's average by more than 2,000%. The Chinese government has given citizens a week to report all manually operated vehicles still in use and to submit all bicycles for installation with state-issued GPS tracers. Thank you for watching N54 News. Join us again next time. The layer of dust suspended in our atmosphere, a result of the Himalayan wars, has limited the amount of solar radiation reaching the Earth's surface. More importantly, the increasing regularity of hurricanes and sandstorms caused frequent and costly damage to most solar farms. It appears Q2 will remain the uncontested leader in the energy sector for the foreseeable future. In mainland Europe and the Mediterranean, the humanitarian crisis has grown worse. In other news, China has become the first country in the world to formally ban the use of human-controlled road vehicles. State-validated self-driving vehicles will be limited to pre-authorized routes, such as a person's commute to and from work. However, heads of state in France, England, and Germany have issued a joint statement in which they preclude the option of government intervention. From now on, Chinese citizens can use only autonomous vehicles, approved by government regulators. Unsurprisingly, wind power has fared just as poorly. The number of active turbines has plummeted by 63% over the last 15 years alone. Their statement reads, quote, "Interference by government authority is interference in the free market. The disruption of natural market mechanisms only serves to hinder the optimal path for solutions to current problems." End quote. We begin now with your latest local news. The 54th anniversary of the AHQ disaster is fast approaching. In 2023, Night City was shaken to its core by the detonation of a tactical nuclear bomb in Arasaka's NC headquarters. 12,000 were killed instantly by the blast, and thousands more later succumbed to acute radiation sickness. This tragic incident, which some ultimately attribute to Arasaka's wanton imperialist tendencies, has forever left a mark on our city's history. And now, an important message for Watson residents. The homelessness problem plaguing the district's sewer system will be addressed as fumigation of the tunnels begins tomorrow. Due to the use of potent neurotoxins, Watson residents are urged to stay clear of storm drains and sewer entrances to minimize risk of injury and death. Next, is it the end of eastbound traffic jams on the I-9? Long-awaited repairs to Ring Road East may begin as early as next month. And that is it for your latest local news. After the break, we have a look at our world report. Estimates put investment into this major artery at close to 20 million euro, with priority being placed on efficiency and anti-nomad barriers. Welcome to N54 News. I'm Gillean Jordan. Once again, Militech has proven its vital role in the reconstruction of America. After the break, what quality is most important when hiring a personal bodyguard for your child? Now for local news. The Force has ordered 20 of the Centaur units to be used in preventative patrols and MaxTac forces. A ceremonial signing of the partnership took place at City Hall. Police Commissioner Coleridge and Militech Government Relations Executive Meredith Stout were in attendance. The NCPD has expanded its arsenal to include Militech's Centaur-class exosuits. A ceremonial signing of the partnership took place at City Hall. Police Commissioner Coleridge and Militech Government Relations Executive Anthony Gilchrist were in attendance. The Force has ordered 20 of the Centaur units to be used in preventative patrols and MaxTac forces. Now for local news. Once again, Militech has proven its vital role in the reconstruction of America. After the break, what quality is most important when hiring a personal bodyguard for your child? The NCPD has expanded its arsenal to include Militech's Centaur-class exosuits. We return to this week's biggest story, the murder of Arasaka Corporation CEO Saburo Arasaka. The longtime head of the Japanese megacorporation was reported slain on the premises of the Konpeki Plaza corporate hotel while attending a family gathering. Saburo Arasaka's son, Yorinobu Arasaka, has cast blame for his father's murder on the company's rivals, although he has not yet provided evidence supporting this claim. According to market analysts, the CEO's death may have been a desperate attempt to divert attention away from the company's ongoing internal issues. After the break, we ask experts how they see Arasaka rebounding from the crisis. We've just received word on a breaking story. A Kangtao AV has crashed outside of Night City. The aircraft's thrusters were deactivated by sudden EMP discharge from a nearby damaged power station in Santo Domingo. The emergency landing attempt proved unsuccessful. After the break, President Myers has released a statement on the flow of refugees from the Netherlands. Fortunately, Kangtao's surviving security personnel managed to fend off the attack without suffering additional losses. The company has already announced a forceful response against the nomads' camps. The passengers who survived the crash landing were met by a band of nomads.
I look okay to you? We're about to go live. 3, 2, 1. This is Gillean Jordan of N54 News coming to you live from Japantown, where a commemorative parade in honor of Saburo Arasaka descended into chaos today. Thank you, people are working here. Eyewitnesses we've spoken to described a shootout on one of the celebratory floats. The float in question is said to have been transporting Hanako Arasaka. We are still awaiting an official statement from the Arasaka Corporation regarding these events. Oh, damn it. Let's do it again. Unfortunately, I have no further details to report at this time. Hey, stay out of the shot! As the situation continues to be brought under control, we urge everyone to avoid Kanzaki Street.
Welcome to N54 News. I'm Gillean Jordan. A letter of protest regarding the apparent resurrection has been signed by religious leaders, human rights groups, and Virtue 100 company CEOs. But Saburo Arasaka has issued his response in similarly strong terms. There will be no appeasement. Will the world accept Saburo Arasaka's argument and bend to his will? I'll ask our experts after the break. Night City residents are also making their voices heard. A protest outside of Arasaka's Night City headquarters has extended to its second day. The world remains gripped by the revelation that Saburo Arasaka has returned from the dead in the body of his son, Yorinobu Arasaka. Over the past several weeks, tensions between Arasaka Corp and Militech escalated to troubling levels. Saburo Arasaka and NUS President Rosalind Myers have agreed to meet in person to lay the groundwork for a lasting peace. Many pundits and analysts warned of a possible outbreak of armed conflict. However, in an unexpected shift, the return of Saburo Arasaka appears to have diffused the situation between the rival megacorporations. The exacerbation of tensions was heightened when Yorinobu Arasaka assumed leadership following his father's death and accused Militech of his murder. A first step of goodwill was taken today as the Arasaka CEO withdrew from Night City 15 armored vehicles from the company's Akaashi series. Stay tuned to N54 News for developments on this story. Hello, I'm Gillean Jordan. We begin the broadcast with troubling news from the state line. 27 people died and another 47 were injured. The surviving migrants are now being held at an undisclosed facility. To sign a petition calling on the Night City Council to rejoin the union, please visit the address at the bottom of your screen. South California reportedly opened fire on a migrant caravan attempting to penetrate the wall. This is just another in a series of similar incidents this year already. The South Californian government has so far declined to comment. Stay tuned. More information after the break. This tragedy further emphasizes the need for unity under President Myers' leadership. It is only under the guiding influence of the NUS government that future bloodshed can be avoided. Welcome to N54. It's time for your local news. Violence continues to plague the Badlands. Shootings have been reported along the 166, and 101. Eyewitness accounts point to inter-clan disputes. Attacks on unaffiliated persons has not exceeded the average. However, in an abundance of caution, the NCPD has raised the threat level to 2, advising travelers to avoid side roads. We'll continue to keep you informed as the situation develops. Hello, Night City. This is Gillean Jordan with an N54 News Campaign update. Exit polls for the Night City mayoral race have finally been tallied. Incumbent Weldon Holt of the Devolutionist Party received 47.8% of the vote, despite allegations of his complicity in the murder of Lucius Rhine, former mayor of Night City. Now we see whether Perales will be able to realize his ambitious campaign promises. But in a close race, Federalist candidate Jefferson Perales still seized the election with 49.3% of the vote. After the break, when will the Corsairs end their losing streak? In his concession speech, Mayor Holt offered his congratulations to the victor. Hello, Night City. This is Gillean Jordan with an N54 News Campaign update. Exit polls have finally been tallied. Incumbent Weldon Holt of the Devolutionist Party received a paltry 27.2% of the vote. His campaign floundered following charges filed against him in a murder investigation of Lucius Rhine, former mayor of Night City. Federalist candidate Jefferson Perales won a resounding victory with 70.7% of the vote. In his concession speech, Mayor Holt offered his congratulations to the victor. Now we see whether Perales will be able to realize his ambitious campaign promises. After the break, when will the Corsairs end their losing streak? We have a breaking development in an ongoing story. A tragic end in the search for young teens abducted by Anthony Harris, also known as Peter Pan. The case of Peter Pan has proved yet another example of Night City's moral collapse. The NCPD did not manage to locate the abducted boys in time to save their lives. They were found on an abandoned farm, dead from dehydration and exhaustion. Crime in Night City is now double the rate than in the new United States. At this point, it seems a near guarantee that closer ties with the Union would help get this city's security back on the right track. Stay tuned for more details after the break. Hello, this is N54 News with a breaking development. The story of the teens abducted by Anthony Harris, known also as Peter Pan, has reached a happy ending. Thanks to an anonymous tip, the NCPD managed to reach them in time. The rescued teens remain in critical but stable condition. Harris held the boys aged between 13 and 18 on his abandoned farm. Crime in Night City is now double the rate than in the new United States. At this point, it seems a near guarantee that closer ties with the Union would help to get this city's security back on the right track. This heinous case is just another example of Night City's continued moral collapse. Stay tuned for more details after the break.
We have breaking news of a shooting that occurred at the Dollhouse Beyond. Over 30 people were killed and many more suffered injuries. We have our correspondent Catherine O'Brien at the scene. Catherine, can you tell us what transpired exactly? I see. A tragic day for Beyond and its clientele. We can only hope the dolls who survived will have no memory of this horrific event. Thank you, Catherine. We will continue to report on the incident as the story develops.
Hello and welcome to N54 News. We begin with distressing reports from the Badlands. A Militech humanitarian convoy was attacked by a ruthless band of nomad outlaws. Corporate security forces responded with force only as a last resort after their escape route had been cut off. Although several Militech vehicles suffered damage, the nomads have failed to open them. Unfortunately, approximately a dozen employees were killed in the assault, including veteran of the Unification War and Crimson Heart recipient Linda Nopes. To the families of those who perished, we at N54 News offer our sincerest condolences. Reinforcements called to the attack site managed to repel the assailants and secure the transport's cargo. With the NCPD's cooperation, Militech has already announced a retaliatory strike on nearby nomad camps. We continue our coverage after the break.